Hello and welcome to Eco Girl in a Modern World. My name is Shelley and my channel is dedicated to talking about ways to be more environmentally friendly in a modern context. We're going to keep this video really brief. I actually had a really exciting weekend and I got a chance to get out and go to a couple of state fair kind of events, and it really kind of inspired me. I'm always a believer in supporting small business, and what I was doing is I had this kind of movie poster, a small one, it was like 11 by 17, and I went and as kind of an early birthday gift to myself, I went and paid to have it professionally framed. And I believe that there's a benefit in professionally framing things. It's not only supporting a small business near me, but the business that does the framing has been in business for 30 years. They really know their stuff. They know how to handle, jerseys, handle, artwork, and they do a beautiful job. And the other thing that I noticed is that they deal in all natural materials. They only use wood frames. They don't use acrylic. They don't use plastic. And it's and even though of course there are coatings and there are glues that are not natural, it was just really nice to talk to someone who has that specialty. I dabbled in framing for a while. It was something that I just like to do. It was kind of I'm a photographer, and being in control of how I frame my my artwork was like an artistic outlet for me. And I just believe that that's something that you don't just see anymore. When I was talking to the framer, they even said, it is kind of like a dying art. They're both, the owners are a husband and wife, and they're approaching their retirement years. And the wife even told me, she goes, I really wish that we could find someone who would be an apprentice, who would learn this craft. Because we want to carry on the tradition, we want to teach our skills, and again, it's an artisanship, and having a specialty like that is a rare thing. I feel like just like we mass produce everything, like goodness knows I could go to the craft store, just go to Walmart or something like that and try to buy a basic frame, but that's not the same as having something framed with that quality of care and that quality of materials. So even though I knew it sounds counterintuitive to talk about that type of craftsmanship on a eco channel, whenever you specialize in something, that is being eco-friendly, because it's not just mass produced. It isn't one size fits all. When you frame something, you are cutting it, you are not wasting materials because you're using the exact measurements of something. And when you specialize, when you put more money into buying the quality wood frame, and believe me, a lot of the framing places, like when I do the framing myself, if I purchase it from my supplier, they do even have reclaimed wood frames and other more green kind of choices. So I just feel like when you have something specialty done, it eliminates waste, it supports small businesses, and and those businesses do learn the cleanest and most green way to do their craft. Now, one other thing that I did this weekend, which also seems counterintuitive, is I went to a gem and jewelry show at my local state fairgrounds. And I always like going to these shows. Again, being on a green channel, it's counterintuitive because you think, okay, we mine for these gemstones. That's hurting the planet. And yes, mining does do that. But what I've noticed is that also you do see, like when I went to this gem show, you saw a lot of fossils, and I love fossils. I love just seeing the history. I saw a lot of petrified amber, which if you've ever seen Jurassic Park, you see fossils of everything, of shells, of trilobites, like some of the original creatures, single-celled organisms that, because honestly, the ocean is the birthplace, is the birthplace of all life. Life really did begin in the ocean. You see petrified coral, and you know, sand dollars, and I just think it's beautiful. It kind of it stokes a fascination in me as to how things are created. It's amazing, you know, in the 40s and 50s and 60s we discovered how to make plastic, and we just mass produce it, but to this day we still don't understand how silica is formed, you know, just pressure and gas. And I got a chance to talk to people who understand how that works. Like I bought two what they call Apache Tears, and what that is it's Apache Tears is volcanic glass. It's technically obsidian. That obsidian is also called dragon glass, but it is formed from pressure and lack of oxygen inside of what they call perlite, and perlite is what's mined. So a lot of gemstones are the byproduct. You know, you come across the volcanic glass by mining for the perlite. And if you've ever opened up a bag of fertilizer, the little white flakes is perlite. It is mined for certain purposes. And but you know, it seems like you're talking to the people who are causing the harm, but believe it or not, you're talking to people who are knowledgeable about how gemstones are formed, what's being mined, and for what purpose. And a lot of the sellers really do care about how they acquire their stock. So it is kind of important to like know this kind of stuff. And I do like to go to gem shows. I mean, again, the other reason is that, you know, you can find really beautiful quality jewelry at gemstone shows. And again, the goal of my channel is, you know, really cheap jewelry. That's the biggest pollutant that you can think of. It's usually made with lead, mass produced by places like Shein, or, you know, or it's just not quality. It's not good for your skin. And the goal of buying jewelry is to wear it as much as possible and not just wear it once and throw it away. So a lot of times when you go to these shows, you can see a lot of that. Also, I meet sellers who are not online. They're very organic. They care, you know, like they created the jewelry. So it is like going to like an art show. I talked to two sellers who I've talked to every single time I go. They're really great guys, and really wonderful people. They travel and they buy wares from Southwest Indian tribes. There's also artwork that they sell that was amazing. I actually got I didn't buy it, but I saw an artwork that is 1 inch by 1 inch wide, and it is made with almost a single hairbrush. And believe it or not, the artist is Native American, and they do not use a magnifying glass when they paint this. They literally have a very, very fine brush that they make this microscopic watercolor art. I also saw a beautiful, the Libra birthstone, and I'm a Libra, is opal, and there's something called Boulder Opal, which is literally the raw stone. But you can, instead of finding a whole opal in it, you can see veins. If you know, turn the stone in your hands, you see flashes of blue and red and yellow and gold and yellow, and it's the opal veins within the stone. And it's just really beautiful. I also got a chance to talk to other artisans as well. I got to talk to the Gem Cutters Guild of my state, and I got to actually see them working on a stone. And again, I know it seems like, okay, it feels like you're talking to the enemy, but it's really not like that. If we actually reused stonework, if we were able to cut buttons, you know, or other things instead of out of plastic, out of stones, you're using an organic source. Also, if you learn about how stones are formed, instead of creating all these things from synthetic materials, you could make them from materials that are naturally found in nature, right? And at their end life, it would not be leaking microplastics when you throw it away. It would just be a stone on the ground that, you know, is part of the earth. And so I do feel like it's important to learn about these things on top of just seeing how beautiful nature is. Like the patterns that you see in the stones are just so beautiful. And learning how it's made, it's a wonder to me. But I wanted to make this video to talk about artisanship. The people I talked to, especially the gem cutter, was the gentleman I talked to was just, he was so passionate about what he did, and he was so knowledgeable. He was talking about how you cut facets into a stone and how the facets come, the light comes in, bounces, and comes back up. And that's what makes the stone brilliant. And but it was really beautiful. We talked about waste. We talked about, okay, if you start with a stone that's this big, how much is left over? And they were so honest about it. And he was, this gentleman was older, and he really wanted to introduce younger generations to the craft. And he was, again, very knowledgeable and passionate about what he did. And it's amazing how, you know, we sit at home watching our TVs, not really caring about what's going on in the environment. If you learned a craft like stone cutting, or learned, you know, gemology, or, you know, about minerals, how minerals are formed, and this is a lot in the news too, you know, what minerals we have in the United States, what minerals we need from other countries to make, you know, the computers that power AI, or the computers that power phones, and how valuable they are. And how maybe we shouldn't mine them into extinction. Maybe we should cut back on our technical habits and go out and learn a craft. And, you know, this is, you know, when you own your own business, you own your own business. It gives you job security. So I know I'm kind of all over the place, but this weekend I really got to talk to people about what they do, and it was really amazing. And it gave me hope. It gave me hope. There's so much opportunity, and when you learn a specialty craft like that, you can absolutely make it green. You know, you can, in your practices, you know, buy the materials, or you know, perform that craft in the way that would be helpful to the planet. And not harmful. And if we do that on a small scale, that's what has big impact, right? So I just wanted to make that brief video. It was a really fun weekend, and I love to go and learn new things. And I hope that maybe this gave you some hope or inspiration to maybe check out a few things, or if you are fascinated about a certain field or craft, I can almost promise you that they're looking for people who want to learn how to do it, and do it in a green way. But I thank you so much for checking out my channel. I will be back again in 2 weeks. If you like what you see here, I would be very honored if you'd like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.